So welcome once again. This is a lesson number 20 of the deep learning course. In the last class, we were talking about that how we can utilize the neural network system for the computer vision problem. And today we are going to see a very popular kind of architecture that is called the CNN. So we are going to see that what are the reasons why we use the CNN and what are the important characteristics of the CNN further. So today I will start my discussion by just giving this understanding that you know that if let's assume that you have any signal, you all know that if you have, let's assume that this is what the signal is, and if you want to measure this particular signal, so you would be deploying some kind of sensor. Sensor would have some kind of noise, and because of noise there is some variation. Instead of getting the right value, you are getting this value, this value, this value. So instead of getting the right value, you are actually what you are going to get. You are going to get a very different kind of thing. You are going to get this, not the original signal. Okay, we are going to get this instead of the original signal. We are going to get this thing. Okay, so I think. So how can we find out the original signal? We have discussed in the previous class. Any idea? We have discussed into the earlier class that what happens that when we actually model the noise is generally Gaussian. Okay, and we assume that it is zero-centered, and mostly it is like that. So if it is zero-centered, so if we take the average, what would happen? Then either other components got cancelled, and we can get the right thing. So if you want to estimate the actual reading of some sensor, so this is a very important and very first thing that we do, that we somehow use some kind of weight matrices, and we multiply with the values which are going to be presented to you at some point of time, and then you this weighted average is going to give you the actual value. Weighted average is something, for example, if all the values are 1, there is 1 upon 8 or whatever number of ones are there, they are going to be balanced. And we have also seen in the last class that if we use, for example, let's assume that this is what the signal is, where some values are there, and let's assume my weights are 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So this is, we have seen in the earlier thing that it is a kind of into the image segmentation task. It was a box filter kind of thing. So the effect of this kind of filtering was that we are going to have we are going to have a blurring effect. Okay, but we have also seen that if we use a weighted one, for example, the Gaussian weighted one, so we have seen that it gives you an enhancement filter. It does an enhancement. Why it does an enhancement? We have seen that it actually it is a kind of subtraction of the things which are actually very important, and then somehow the equation turns out to be that thing that we are going to remove is actually added with some kind of alpha. And by having this, actually we have seen that the details which are there into the image are get highlighted. I would not go into once again into the much detail of that particular thing. If you wish, we can. But however, we should only understand that let's assume that we only take this particular part. This is also sufficient, because if some things are coming one by one, so you can utilize one part. So you can think that the item which is very near to me, for example, this item, if I want to find out the actual value of this particular quantity, so these weights should be higher and previous weights should be lower. We can have in this particular way. Let's assume the weights are into this particular way, and they are representing a kind of Gaussian thing where the currently thing has weight 0.5, earlier 0.4, 0.04, 0.02, 0.02, like that. All right. So let's assume my signal was this. Let's assume that my signal was this. That the signal value that you are going to get from your scanner or your sensor is this. So what is the value? Initial value is 1, then 1.1, then 1.2, 1.4, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 2.1, 2.2, 2.4, 2.5, 2.7. So these are the values that I'm going to get. If this is a weight vector that I have, can I find out that what should be the right value over here? No, because if I want to find out over here, I need to multiply this weight vector with whom I am going to multiply these things. Because this value need to be multiplied by this value, but to whom I have to multiply this? I cannot find this value. So we cannot apply the filter for some time. Maybe we can call it as a cold start. So for initial things, we don't have something, but after some time, when the number of inputs from the sensor are available to the length of the weight, then we can start. So when I want to find out what is the better representation of this particular quantity, how should I proceed? Right now, correct. So you correctly understood that we have to multiply these things. How can 0.01 multiplied by 1.0, 0.01 multiplied by 1.1, 0.02 multiplied by 1.2, 0.02 multiplied by once again 1.40, and 1.70, 1.80, 1.90, what are the weights? 0.2, 0.04, 0.4, and 0.5. This is what the multiplication. You find out what is the value, and the value comes out to be 1.8. And this value is written over here. Make sense? So this is a better representation. Yeah, any questions? No? So this is how you can find out the actual value, that is a Smoot value, and we have also seen the filter actually brings our focus to this particular size. If the size of filter is large, means what? I am going to see something of that particular size. If the filter is small, I want to highlight the things which are of that particular size. So anything below to the size of this particular filter, they are actually diminished. They are actually removed from the fields. And this you can think that if the anything below that this particular size are diminished, so definitely the ripples that are going to come in our signal, they are also small, so they would also be removed from our original signal. Let us once again investigate our our method on the 2D signal, because just now we have seen the one-dimensional signal. So 2D signal image is a two-dimensional signal. This is a beautiful image of Taj Mahal. So on this image, if you apply the filter, what will happen? This time you need to have the something filter of the two-dimensional size, means it has a length and breadth. Okay, this kind of filter you have to apply. So if you want to apply filter over here, for example here, and let me say that it is only for the sake of clarity, it is 3 by 3 filter. So if I want to find out what should be the value, at this particular place. Okay. So the method is this, that you use the values of filter. So let's assume the filter is this, and it has a value, for example, 1 0 0 1 0 0 1 0 0. Let's assume that this is what my filter is. So I'm going to apply this filter over here. What would happen? What would happen? And let's assume that there is 1 by 3 is also there. Okay. Otherwise, the value summation becomes very large, no? Because it is 1 by 3 also there. So what would happen? That here, whatever the values here are, they are actually averaged, and this value would be placed over here. So all the values are actually a kind of shifted. If I just use this for the sake of more clarity, let me say that if, oh my God. So let's assume that if here also it is 0, what would happen? Previous value is just coming on my place, and then everything is shifted into the left hand side, right hand side. Everything is shifted to right hand side. All the pixels are shifted. So this is one operation that I can do. Any other operation that you can come up with? So we have also seen, I think, let me give you that example once again into this particular class. Let's assume that I have this image. Okay. Here the value is 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. 20. These values are 20. Let's assume this is what my image is. And let me also give you a filter. and the filter is 1 1 1 minus 1 minus 1 1 1 1 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 0 0 0. This is what the filter is. Clear? All right. So I am going to apply this filter on my image. So I am going to get something. Okay. So if I have changed the color, I think I should be good to go. So can you tell me what would be the value at this particular location? At this particular location, if I put this filter, what would be value at this particular location? Means new value. You know that what is the value right now? It is 50. What would be the new value? If I put this filter over here, if I put this filter over here, it would cover this particular location. All the values are minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. All the values are 1, 1, 1, 1. So this value is going to be subtracted by this. This summation is going to be 150. This minus 1 multiplied summation. So minus 1 multiplied by things are here. So they become minus 150. Here 150. And here whatever value is, it is 0. So overall value is going to be what value is going to come? 50. अरे भाई एक बार फिर से देख लेते हैं. So this multiplied by this, so it comes out with 50 multiplied by minus 1, 50 multiplied by minus 1, 50 multiplied by minus 1. Then 0 multiplied by, oh, I think I have, sorry, I am very sorry, actually I have done this mistake. So this would be 0. I am sorry. Okay. What is the value now? 0. I am sorry, okay. Huh? I have done. Okay, sorry. So this value comes out to be 0. Right? What is this value? 0. What is this value? We cannot compute because you cannot put this thing over here. We cannot compute. So let us forget about it. Let's say that they are irrelevant value. Right now, because I cannot find them, I can put any 0 value over there and can tell that they are irrelevant values. So whatever important values are, they are only inside. This actually happens when you apply a filter. So larger things becomes irrelevant. So there are some methods by which you can do. You can think that whatever value is here, the same value is here also. Sometimes you can say like that. Or sometimes you can fill 0 values over there and you can say that now I can compute. So this is called the padding. Same padding means the same value you are going to have. Or you can put the 0 and then by this you can preserve the size. Otherwise, if when you apply the filter, the size of image is going to get reduced. Okay. So we were finding out that what is the value. All these values are 0. What about the values over here? They are also 0. They are also 0, 0, 0, 0. What value over here you are going to get? Here also you are going to get at this particular place. Okay, they are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. Now the question is, important question comes, what is the value over here? 90. Okay. It's 90, it is 90, it is 90, it is 90. What is value at this particular place? 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. All right. So I call upon your visualization. Can you tell me that what kind of image it was earlier? Looks like that there was some color at this particular place and some dim color, maybe some dim color because 20 is the dim color, 50 is a more brighter thing. This kind of image this was. Okay. This kind of image this was earlier. Now what happens? Everything becomes 0. This becomes 0. This becomes 0. Only here the values are 90. So what kind of image it is? Straight line. It is only a straight line. So, and if you by yourself, if you try to visualize this image where there is one side there is 50 and the other side is 20, so your brain would only be interested to see that what is in between. There is a line. You are also, earlier also you are actually visualizing the line only, but it looks like there is a line, one side there is something, other side there is something. This is called a feature. When we applied this kind of method, we got a feature. If we change this filter, and we say that, for example, this is also very common, equally kind of same kind of feature where I say that 1 1 1 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 and here 0 0 0. If I use this filter, it is going to find out the any kind of any kind of there is a horizontal line, and this gives you vertical line, and this gives you horizontal line. So ultimately what happens that when you apply a kind of filter, you extract a feature from the image. The idea is this, that when you apply a kind of feature, you get a kind of filter, you get a kind of feature from the thing. Okay. So this we understand that if input is, for example, there are some values, it is an image of 3 cross 4 and with 3 cross 4 image, and this is 2 cross 2 filter. When you apply and you, for example, when you put at this particular place, so what you get, if you want to find out that what should be the value, it is a multiplication, term by term multiplication, you know that, and this is what the term by term multiplication is written over here. By this you generate something. Okay, so filter size are actually, let's assume that you are going to apply a filter. Most of the time we are going to call it f. F is 2k plus 1. Let's assume that my filter size is 2k plus 1 and my image is L cross B. Let's assume that I have an image of L cross B. What is the output size of the image? So what would happen, that original image that is L cross B, you cannot put this particular filter at the very beginning because few things are going to get out. So now you cannot compute it over here, as I told you. How many values? Because if it is 2 cross 2, sorry, if it is 2k plus 1, so k values would be here. This value, if you want to compute at this particular place, k values would get off. So here, for the k values, you cannot find anything. So you have to start from here. At the end also you have to stop somewhere, and k values you have to sacrifice. So whatever image that you are going to get after filtering is only of this particular thing. So this image you are going to get. Both size k is being reduced. So the size becomes L minus 2k plus, multiplied by B minus 2k. So this is the size of image that you are going to get. Make sense? Here, if you can do a small kind of a modification into this particular formula, and you can say that actually 2k is equal to f minus 1. Okay. If you use this, so you can say that this value becomes L minus f minus 1. Okay. This becomes L minus f plus 1. Okay. Another idea is that you can use directly. You can use the filter size. You don't have to divide everything. So what is the new size? It is L minus f plus 1 multiplied by B minus f plus 1. This is what the size is. Okay. So let us see on this running example that whether we are going to get the same thing or not. My image was 3 cross 4. Am I right? 3 cross 4, and filter size was 2. F was 2. So what should be the new size? It is 3 minus 2 plus 1 into 4 minus 2 plus 1. Am I right? Is it, what is this value? It is 2 cross 3. So yes, I am going to get the same thing. I am going to get the 2 cross 3 thing. Small computation that we need to understand. If there is a padding, then what would happen? Padding, I don't know that what is the size of padding. Maybe the padding will be sufficient to do the thing, because if I allow you to add something extra, you can add sufficient or you can add more or you can add lesser. If the padding is P, what would happen? Let's assume that I introduce you that now you can add something over here so that your size is not disturbed. If you can add a padding here, one side, what is the padding? Let's assume that padding is P. So P, so nothing more than this, that you can assume that original image, size of original image is actually larger. And how much it has increased? 2P. Because P one side, P another side, so total increase into the size of the original image is 2P. So if in this kind of setting, if I ask you that if there is a padding also introduced, then what should be the new size of the image? So you can again modify this formula and you can tell me, sir, what is going to happen, that I am going to say if the padding is P, so L plus 2P, L becomes L plus 2P, and everything remains the same, minus F plus 1. Okay, so this same thing also, B minus B plus 2P minus F plus 1, this size. So with the padding that is of the size P, my size is going to change, become this thing. All right. So this is a general formula. This is a general formula that if you want to find, if when you apply a kind of filter on an image, this is how you can find out. This is nothing more than this. That if you want to find out if there is an image, you want to find out that this particular location, you have to go minus m to m size. So you have to start by m by half to m by plus m by 2, because it's a mostly we think that f is equal to f is actually a odd number. So go something back to 4 in this particular direction, and similarly on this particular direction also find out all the summations, all the term by term multiplication. There is an image and kernel. The filter is sometimes also referred as a kernel. K, on the kernel you see that what is the value, and image you see what is the value. I is a location. If you want to find out the same location, you can add the I and j, and then you can find out that what should be the total summation at this particular place. That's very simple. All right, few minutes back we have discussed that if we apply 111, it is called box filtering, and we are going to get a blurred image. Blurred image is bad. No, blurred image is not bad. Okay, why? Because we have seen earlier that if there are some salt and pepper noise, salt and pepper means somewhere white pixel or black pixels are there, or there is some kind of changes. So those things can be filled by blurring. Okay, and blurring actually gives you the better idea sometimes. Okay, because it's a feature. Now you are going to the feature. This is a Gaussian kernel, and you know that a Gaussian kernel does a sample. Makes sense? We have seen that this. We have seen how if you find out the difference of these two images, you would be getting the details which are there. So that has been removed. And in this thing, with the original thing, only that details has been added. If this is the kernel list, you get the image like this. So it's a kind of edge detection. A kind of edge detection, not the direct edge detection. You know that in the previous class we have seen that maybe x direction, y direction, find out that what is the gradient, and then you find out the gradient amplitude. If the gradient amplitude is high, then you can apply a filtering and highlight those kind of filters. Okay, so we have seen that in the one-dimensional filtering, we have seen into the things into the two-dimensional filtering, and now let us talk about the three-dimensional filtering. Let's assume that we have the three-dimensional thing something, and we apply a filter on that. How come the three-dimensional thing comes? First, let's try to understand that where can we get the three-dimensional thing. So most of the images are three-dimensional. They have multiple channels. Okay, they could have multiple channels. Generally, the number of channels is 2, RGB, CMYK, CMYK, then 4 channels could be there. If you represent that a particular pixel uses CMYK, then 4 values would be there. RGB, 3 values would be there. Mostly the images are represented using RGB. So what is on the R channel, what is the G channel, what is the B channel. So all these 3 things, 3 values would be given to you. So here there is an image, and what is on the R channel, what is the G or what is the B, 3 different two-dimensional values we are going to have. If you want to find out the feature, and this is nothing more than this, you can just simply think that let's assume that I wish to find out that what is the grayscale image. So how can you find out the grayscale image? You use this value, and this value, multiply with some kind of weights and find out the summation. Weight could be 1/3 also. You can find out the value over here, and whatever you get over here, you put it here. By this three-dimensional thing becomes one-dimensional. Okay. So similarly, you can also apply. Similarly, on the same line, you can also apply The filter also, if we what I wanted to tell, that you can here you can find out on the one plane you apply a two-dimensional thing, on the second also you apply a two-dimensional thing, third you also apply the same thing. Okay, what do I mean by this? Okay, let us open this. Okay, let us open this RGB. So this is the R channel, this is the G channel, this is the B channel. Okay, I have a filter that I can apply on this to get something, a new R dash. I have a filter, and this is a filter 1. Let me say that this is a filter 2. They need not to be the same, and I get this under G dash, because we know that on one dimension we can apply on the one plane, two-dimensional plane we can apply something. Similarly here also, F3 we can apply something, we can get the B dash. Okay. So if we can do it separate on one by one, then why cannot I combine them? Why cannot I combine them and make it another something? This filter can be one by one. I can say that the first filter, then second filter, then third filter. I make this way. I say that the 3 filters are one by one, and it's a kind of now 3-dimensional filter. Instead of using 1-dimensional filter, now it becomes 3-dimensional filter. 3-dimensional filter is multiplied over here. So 3-dimensional filter, you can by yourself you can think that this should have a property that it should go deep down inside. Let's assume that number of channels here, number of planes here are 5, and I have a filter that has the depth of 3 only. Would it be a logical thing to apply? No, because if I apply 3 things, so the two of the planes are actually not touched, so they become wasted. Whenever you are going to apply a 3-dimensional thing, your depth should automatically be of this particular size. Otherwise, you cannot apply. In the 3 dimension, the depth should be equal to the input depth. This is the important thing. So, again, so who is going to stop you to apply only one such filter? So, for example, when you applied this, you got this particular plane. Everybody is okay. That when you apply a 3-dimensional filter, now you understand that is 3-dimensional filter. And when you apply a 3-dimensional filter, you get one plane. Okay. So who is stopping me to apply only one? I can apply different one also. Okay. I can apply one more 2-dimensional filter. I get one more plane. Okay. For example, when I apply this, I get this plane. When I apply this, I get this plane. When I apply this, I get this plane. Multiple planes. So multiple planes I can find out. So if some image is there, multiple features I can find, and then I can combine them and take forward. Okay, multiple things I can some horizontal edges, vertical edges, different kind of illumination variation, different kind of normalization we can apply, and then better representation. We can use the better representation, and we can go ahead with that. All right, very good. So what happens now? So this was the input. Oh, okay, this was the input, and we got this thing when I apply one filter. Okay, so I told you that you can apply multiple filters. So who is stopping you again to be here only? You again apply, for example, if you 10 features you are with 10 planes you are going to construct, then you again apply create another kind of filter over here. Apply on this, get more better feature, better hierarchical feature on that. This is how we combine. What should be the value of these things? Right now, we are not concentrating on this because we assume that when we are going to relate these things with the losses, my system parameter are automatically using back propagation. We are going to find out the right parameter. This is a very important slide. Okay, so I want to do some mathematics with you, and that is very easy. Okay, you need not to worry about much. A very easy kind of mathematics that we want to do. And I think before that, I missed one point. I should also tell you that. Sorry. Sorry. I should tell you this time. You know that what is filter? What is the size of filter actually? You know what is padding? What is the size of padding? What is the effect of padding when you apply on an image? You know that. There is something also very important thing that is called the stripe. What do I mean by stripe? So actually, let's assume that this is what the image is. Okay, let's assume that this is what the image is. And let's assume that you have a 3x3 filter. Okay. Few minutes back I told you that you cannot put the filter at this particular place. Until there is a padding, you cannot put it here. But you can put it here. Make sense? Okay. When you put it here, you get an equivalent value for this place. After that, you can put the filter here. After that, you can put the filter here. But if you decide that no, I would be not putting the filter over here, I would put here and here and here. So now, earlier your stride was 1, now your stride is 2. And if stride is 2, means in between you are leaving one thing, one item. Understand? So can you help me to find out, let's assume that my stride is S. So what would be my size? Can you tell me? Let's assume that this is L. Just help me to find out this. Okay. This length is L and my filter is F. Filter is of size F. So what will be the next size? What will be my final size? Can you help me? Correct. So right now this dimension I'm not talking about. Let's assume that this is B. What would this value we can also find out. In one dimension, let us only find out. Let's assume there are L different cells, and if the filter is L, so I can put my filter, let's F is equal to 2K plus 1. So K values I have to sacrifice here. Okay. After K values, how many values are remaining? How many values are remaining here? L minus K values. And the first value, if I take, I have to put the filter. I have to put the filter over here. If I take the first value, so L minus K minus 1 values are there. And at every interval of S, I am going to get something. At every interval of S, I am going to get something. So how many values I am going to get into this particular place? How many values I can generate? Divided by S, because after every S interval, I am going to get this. Okay. I think I should write 2K also, because K values I cannot put over this particular place, divided by S. Am I right? Should I add 1 also? Because 1 I have told this was the initial value. Okay. After that, I am going to get these many values. So I should add 1. 2K minus 1 is what? Filter size. And if I had done the padding, L had changed to what? 2P has been added to my filter. So can I safely say like this? If the value is L, if the padding is P, if the stride is S, if the filter size is F, so the value is going to be L minus F plus 2P divided by S plus 1. L becomes this. In the same way, this vertical dimension, horizontal was this, vertical also becomes the same way. Instead of B minus F plus 2P upon S plus 1, this size. Okay, so very good, excellent. So if you are with me, I'm very happy that you understood everything. Okay, so this is important computation that you need to understand when you are actually going to apply the things. So we understood that height and width that are going to change can be obtained using this particular formula. We are settled on this. S minus F plus 2P. S minus F plus 2P. Shouldn't it be width minus F plus? Thank you very much. So these things are very much needed, because actually what happens when I type, my brain goes away. Thank you very much. Okay, this was a typo, and I think after Many 5-6 classes I have done this. I have to give you chocolate, but I don't have right now. Thank you for pointing this. Okay, this should be W. Okay, fine. All right. So let us start our discussion by seeing this particular input and this kind of filters, and let us see that what is my output. The same thing can be applied here also. Okay? From this I get this. Here also I can apply filter. I can get something else. Okay. Let us find out. What is the size? 227 cross 227 images where 3 channels are there. I am going to apply a filter that is of size 11 cross 11. Okay, 11 cross 11. So what should be the depth of this particular filter? 3. I cannot take any other number. Understand that this number should be 3 because here is a 3, so this number should be 3. If it is not 3, then you cannot apply. You should not apply. Actually, you should not apply. Cannot. How can I say? If anybody want to do the suicide, okay, take it lightly. Okay. If you want to apply this, that is fine. But generally, you should be like that. Okay. So we understood that what is the output. Okay. In the output, what should be this direction, this value? Can you compute and let me know? It is 227 minus 11. Am I right? Plus, what is the padding? Padding is 0. It is specified. Let's assume that the filter properties are this. I have not discussed. Let me just discuss this. Let's assume I am going to apply 96 filters, not only one, 96 filters. I am going to maintain the stride of 4, and padding is 0. And if this is the thing, then the value comes out to be padding is 0, so it is 0 divided by stride is 4, so I divide by 4 plus 1, and 227 minus 11. Again, both the values are same, so the values are going to be the same only. So can you tell me what is this value? Can you tell me what is this value? What is the value of W? Yes? 55. Huh? Am I right? If I'm wrong, please let me know. 55 plus 55. It is fine that I have discovered that what should be the height and width of this thing. How many, what should be the depth at this particular place? Number of filters. How many filters we have? 96. It should be 96. This is what my output is. Okay, done. Excellent. Great. Now I want to tell you a very interesting thing. So you have understood one thing, that how can we apply. Now we are going to see that how can you do the classification. Okay, because ultimate objective is what? To do the classification. Let's assume that this is what image I have. What I want. That I am going to feed this thing to the system, and the system is going to tell me whether it is a car or bus or monument or flower. What it is monument, you know. So system is going to tell me that whether it is a car or bus or monument or flower, whatever category it can tell me. We want this. What can we do in this way? So directly, how can the image can be directly classified? We have to do some kind of feature engineering on this. I take it, do some kind of feature engineering such as edge detection, and then this edge detection has been placed into some kind of model, and we are assuming here that there is just some model. This model is going to give me this thing. There is just some model, and then it is going to tell that what is going to happen. Okay. Okay. So who is this stopping to you? Only use one feature. Why only edge detection? You can apply other feature also. For example, shift feature, scale invariant feature transform. This is the name of very popular paper. Histogram of gradient HOG. So we are not going to that detail. That comes from the computer vision. Let's assume that there are a few different kind of other methods also finding out the feature. So use multiple feature instead of using one thing. Use multiple one, and then you apply a kind of classifier over here. Classifier is going to tell me this. So this is not good. This is somehow good, but this is more good. Okay, this is the classification pipeline. In this way, you have to do. Okay. Very important slide. Okay. Okay, I have not shown this. Let me show this. That let's assume that there is a model, and you want to do the classification. So the question is that where is the learning happening? At what place there is a learning happening? So when there was a feature, learning was happening here. When there was a feature, learning was happening here. When there was a feature, learning was happening here. Where is the learning happening? Learning means what? Changing the parameters. You are changing the parameter, adjusting something so that you can be better on something. So is there anything happening over here? No. So learning is only happening at this particular place. Okay. All right. Is this that first we do the handcrafted features, then we learn the weight for the classification. Okay, then we learn weight for the classification. All right, few minutes back we have talked about that if you apply 1, 1, 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 0, 0, 0, what it is? Feature extraction. Horizontal or vertical row. This is a feature extraction. If I say that 1, 3, 5, 9, 8, 2, 4, 1, 5, I don't know what it does. Does some kind of feature extraction, different kind of feature representation. So can we also put something over here so that this, because I'm not that much comfortable finding out the right feature. No? This is the biggest research problem. Everybody comes up with new kind of feature. I don't know that whether this feature is good or not. Why don't I also, because we have established that my CNN is a feature extractor. So can I deploy a CNN over here? Can I deploy CNN over here? And I say that then what would happen if I deploy in this particular way? What would happen? That this particular part becomes a neural network architecture. This is already a neural network architecture. So they are connected. So in a broader perspective, everything becomes a neural network. Now you have to feed only the image and get the classification. Earlier we were not able to do that, but now we can do it. If we can utilize the CNN at this particular place, then we can do it. This is the motivation of the CNN, of using into the network, because they can give you the feature, hierarchy of features, and then by using them, you can develop a better system, because then you can bring the learning component into the feature space, and then you need not to specify that what is the right feature will be decided based on your requirement. Requirement means the error loss function needs to be reduced. Make sense? All right. So here we have seen that multiple features are possible. So similarly, given the image, multiple features you can extract, and then you can apply the classification head on that. Classification head mostly, let me tell you categorically over here, if there are 4 things, so output should be 4 values. We know this. Okay. So classification head should be fully connected. This should be fully connected. So whatever feature you are going to get, you are going to flatten it, provide to the system. Flatten means all the values going to provide to the system. They're not 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. All the values one by one you can provide, and then you apply a fully connected system over here. Okay. Before that, you can apply CNN, and CNN, multiple layers of CNN. They are going to find out the feature. After the feature, classification head is only the fully connected to find out the right representation, right classification out of that. All right, we have understood that given the image, we apply CNN to find out the feature. Then again, you can apply the CNN to consolidate them, and we keep on doing until we find out the right kind of architecture. Then at the end, we apply a classification head, that is the fully connected one, and we get the answer. In the later classes, maybe in the next class, you will see some of the important architectures that are going to do this, and they have achieved something. Okay, we are going to see into more detail. One very important thing that happens with the CNNs, let us just closely focus on the CNN. That happens with the CNNs is this, that the connections are actually sparse. What do I mean by this? Let's assume that there is a small image of 4 cross 4 image, where there is something 2 is written over there. And our task is a digit classification. So digit could be 0, 1, 2, 3, ... 9. So 10 output are there. And then what is inside the input? There is one image and in between, let's assume that I'm going to deploy a fully connected, because fully connected has a lot of power. I'm going to put it over there. I can put like this. Instead of this, if I apply a CNN, what would happen? CNN, the same size of image, same size of image. If I'm going to, let's assume, apply 2 class 2 CNNs, so you know that ये पहले ही बच जाता है क्या? CNN यहाँ पे रखेगा, वो इसको इससे मल्टीप्लाई करेगा, इसको इससे मल्टीप्लाई करेगा. These are the things that they are going to multiply and find out the value. That should be what should be the output. So if I see this thing complete 16 values, because how many values are there? 16 values are there, na? If I see 16 values, to get an output, you see that, for example, let me just write this. This is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 5, 6. So the connection is going to be between 1, 2, and 5 and 6. So CNN is going to find out the output based on this. Earlier, what was happening? Whatever number of neurons over there, they were connected to everybody. In a sense, what is going to happen? That actually CNN is a sparse one, because now you can see that these connections are not there. If you unfold it and try to see it, what is going to happen? These connections are not there. It is a sparse one. CNN provides a sparse connection. By sparse connectivity, one thing we also assume, we achieve that the number of parameters are lesser. With the less parameters, we can take better. Okay. So I have given a general statement. I'm sorry for that. So let me ask this question: is it a right thing to do? What do you think? That this is a better architecture or this is a better architecture?
One is we're going to train, so we can.
Second,
We can take it more.
वो मैंने गलत बोल दिया. I'm sorry.
The algorithm is less complexity, so doing faster is compared to the.
भाई साहब, फास्टर का मतलब मैं कनेक्शन ही नहीं लगाऊं तो तुरंत ही नहीं ट्रेन हो गया वो तो मैंने गलत बोल दिया. मैंने अपना स्टेटमेंट अभी वापस ले लिया. ठीक है. फास्ट ट्रेनिंग वाला मामला अभी थोड़ा देर रखते हैं, है ना. वो भूल जाओ, थोड़ी देर के लिए कंपटीशन अमाउंट भूल जाओ. मैं सिस्टम की परफॉर्मेंस के लिहाज से बात कर रहा हूँ. सिस्टम का परफॉर्मेंस किसका अच्छा होगा? इसका अच्छा होगा कि इसका अच्छा होगा? ओवरफिटिंग तो बाद में आएगा ना. अभी तो मैं ट्रेन कर रहा हूँ अपनी ट्रेनिंग पे अच्छा कौन होगा? ये अच्छा होगा कि ये अच्छा होगा? अभी तो ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हैं ना. ट्रेनिंग तो अच्छा होना चाहते हैं. इंपीरिकल लॉस मिनिमाइजेशन इज द ओनली थिंग दैट वी कैन डू, क्योंकि वही डेटा है मेरे पास. मैं उसी को तो कम करना चाहूंगा. अगर वो भी नहीं कम कर पा रहा हूँ तो फिर क्या कम कर पा रहा हूँ? मैं कैसे जानूंगा कि मैं अच्छा हो रहा हूँ? कौन सा अच्छा है? देखो मेरी घड़ी है अभी, मैं 5 मिनट और लेना चाहता हूँ. बोलो कौन सा अच्छा है? अरे भाई बोल दो. ये अच्छा है, ज्यादा कनेक्शन है. प्रॉब्लम क्या है? ज्यादा कनेक्शन है, कम कनेक्शन बना के अपने आप को हीरो बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. कोई अच्छी बात है क्या? नहीं, अच्छी बात नहीं है. लेकिन कहानी ये है कि अगर आप ऐसे बहुत सारे लेयर लगाएंगे, अगर आप बहुत सारे लेयर लगाएंगे, फिर कुछ मोर लेयर, आई एम सॉरी टू स्पीक इन हिंदी, if you apply more layers, what would happen? That at the top layer, if you want to find out what is the output at this particular place, it was only connected to these three, but these three were connected to these three. So ultimately, all the things, the output at this particular place is actually representation of all the things over here. Okay, having dense connection may be providing more power to you. That is unnecessary. So in this way, if you understand, if you visualize this thing into this way, that if more number of layers are there, then you definitely have to apply more layers, so that you can preserve all kind of information which are there inside. Then this becomes better. With the more layers of things, the network is actually become better, because it preserves all the things that were there. Okay, and then comes a very important thing. Okay. they do a weight sharing. They do a weight sharing. Means what? That whatever, for example, if let's assume there are three different kind of here, okay, one only, red one, green one, and a solid one. Let's assume three different kind of things are there. Let me focus on this blue one. So this particular CNN is going to connect with these ones to find out its value. When it was here at that time, also he was finding out the value, but the weights are same. If I have used a different kind of architecture, when everywhere the new neurons were there, then these weights and these weights were different. Now the weights are same. So the number of parameters actually further reduces to me. Number of parameters which are there further reduces. Is it a good idea? Again, it's not a good idea. Okay, let me tell you why it is a good idea. The idea is this. Now you understand this very well, that if I have an image, I have a filter 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. If I use this, it is going to give me a horizontal, vertical edge. Okay, make sense? If I apply here this filter, and at this place I apply this filter 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, is it a right thing? On the image, by one side, one place you are finding out the horizontal edge, another place you are finding vertical edge. What is this? On the image, if you want to find out the image, you find out the edges, you apply the things to find out the edges. If you change the weights, what would happen? That somewhere it is finding out the edges, another where it is doing the blurring, another place it is going to do the enhancement. With the different weight, this different kind of phenomenon is happening, and this is not good for the image. On the image, if you want to do the image processing, you supply something, you apply a operation, and that's why weight shading is important and needed. Am I able to explain? Yeah. So I have an image. My CNN is actually sharing the weights. What does it mean? That if it does the, for example, enhancement, it is doing the enhancement everywhere. But if I use something which has a different weights, for example, a different architecture which is not sharing the weights, the different weights would be there. So weight actually, we understand that weight means a kind of operation, feature extraction operation. So one place it is enhancing, another place it is finding out edges, and the place it is doing something else. This is not good. This is not good operation. That's why this is very much useful. So weight sharing is important. Different kind of we can apply on the same kind of thing. We can apply different kind of filters, but they all different filters are doing the different kind of operation on the different portion of the same kind of operation on the different portion of the image. All the filters are doing different kind of operation on the different. What I said. every filter is applying a specific kind of operation on all the different parts of the image, and that operation is same. Otherwise, if it has been changed, it has not been a good idea. Okay, so weight sharing makes the job of learning weight also easier, and multiple kernel gets the different feature at the same level. So this is an important property. Make sense? One last thing that I wanted to tell you, and that's not very difficult to see. So you understand that what is CNN. In today's class, we understand what is CNN, what is the importance, how we have it. We will be seeing some examples into the next class. Last thing that I wanted to discuss is this. Sometimes what happens that because mostly the images are of very large size, and we want to find out something. For example, is there a cat or dog? एक bit का answer है. इतना बड़ा image दे रहे हैं, क्या फायदा है इसका, है ना? So many other time we have to reduce the size and consolidate the features so that we can be effective in finding out the parameter. So there is one also very important idea that is called the pooling. And pooling, what does the pooling means? That actually, what is this? Pooling says that, for example, if this is an image and I apply pooling into, for example, 2x2 pooling. So I again take the 2x2 thing and finding out something from here. Maybe I find out the max of that particular quantity. For example, here if I apply the max pool, so what is the maximum value? 8. So I would under image, I would When I do this kind of feature consolidation, I go to the next place. I can also do the same thing, that again I can find out the feature over here, but mostly it is not done. So I again go to the next chunk of the data. Here, what is the maximum? Maximum is 4. Here is 4. Similarly, from here, maximum is 7. It is 7. Similarly, it is maximum is 5. So the value is 5. This is called the max pooling. Similarly, the mean pooling or average pooling can be applied. Okay, with the stride and all other things, all these things can be applied into a similar way. Max pooling, yeah.
The information is being lost.
Correct. This is a very important question. And actually, I was coming on this particular thing. When you apply Wing, you think that the information is lost, but actually it is not. Because in this particular direction, in this particular place, what is the prominent value? I'm going to keep that. Okay. So ultimately, it was a big image. If I want to reduce the size, earlier what I was doing, I was cutting the things, and I was actually, if I was doing sampling. So middle things I was just skipping. Here, what I'm doing, I'm keeping the what is the most prominent value. So prominent value is more important to represent the things. Therefore, most of the time, max pooling is used. Mean pooling is very rarely used. So max pooling you use because you want to find out what is the most prominent value. Average also have the same kind of behavior. So mostly average is also avoided. So people use max pooling into the more thing. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending this session.